JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5 Golden Wind has a more distinct ending than most of the other JoJo parts, but that mainly comes because the story lingers a hair longer than the other parts. Most of them end with heroes having saved the day and they move on with their lives. We don't see what happens after, but we can assume they're fine and the threat's been dealt with. Dio's gone, so the world is safe. The characters can rest and move on with their lives. However, Part 5, the story continues. Giorno and the gang are now the heads of their own group and have to do business. King Crimson may be gone, but their lives have only just begun. And this extra time is what separates Part 5 from the rest. Enter the Rolling Stones, the cause of the divisive ending. The stand that seals the fate of the main characters. It's pretty straightforward, but one that is incredibly ominous for anyone who can catch a glimpse of it. It predicts the death of someone nearby, and for the arc tries to kill Bucciarati. However, after the boys defeat it, it predicts a few more deaths. And by a few, I mean the entire main cast. Araki's final statement for Part 5 is that all these characters will die soon. We don't know why or how, but we know they will. It's most conclusive ending we can get. And it's not really a happy one, which is probably what most fans don't like about it. All the characters they grew to love are gonna die. It's a striking choice for any author to make, and that's exactly why I love it. There's something that speaks to me as a writer about making the conscious choice to end your story with your characters being killed off. Araki got to the end of Part 5 and decided to go one more step. There would be no Golden Wind characters appearing in Stone Ocean, which makes sense given that it's kind of hard to make them a minor character in a story set in a prison where it's the same people for the entire time. But even beyond that, there's still a finality to Part 5. It states this is the end of their tale. Giorno will not be appearing later like Jotaro's numerous appearances. His story is finished. However, there's also the fact that Part 5 is probably the easiest story to sever from JoJo canon without hurting anything else. The only real connection is when Koichi shows up for a few bits and then leaves. Other than that, Part 5 exists on its own. And I love the largely self-contained nature of it because it allows for the ending to exist. Everyone can die and it isn't really going to cause massive ripples for the next part. In reality, I think my love for Part 5 as a whole just spills over to the ending. It's a striking choice that I love a lot as a writer. It's one that takes guts, but shows that no character is immune to death in Araki's eyes. He isn't afraid to let the lead die at the end. Honestly, the ending of Part 5, along with the endings of most JoJo parts, really make me respect Araki so much. Even if the beginning of the story may not fully invest me, by the end I am hooked entirely. And especially with the latter parts, Part 5 feels like the beginning of some of the more striking choices Araki does with endings. It's sad to see the characters that I love so much die, but I can't say an ending part to JoJo has had more of a staying power in my mind than Part 5's. I wouldn't be dedicating this much headspace to it if it wasn't. And overall, I'm someone who just loves an ending that leaves a strong impression, for better or worse. And Part 5 certainly does leave a strong impression while making it plainly obvious for the reader what's going to happen. It's striking but simple, and I just really love it. I wish more manga authors would make endings like these.